Well, Sakina, that is the Tambo family laying a wreath on the gravesite of their father, their grandfather, the longest-serving president of the ANC, Oliver Tambo. You can also, in the few moments now, see the president of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa, laying the wreath there on the grave of Oliver Tambo, the longest-serving president of the ANC. You'd remember that some years ago, after the 2017 ANC conference, Gwede Mantashe, speaking here, said that they would not understand why Cyril Ramaphosa, if he were to steal public resources, why he steals those public funds, because he is filthy rich. As you can also see, Marupini Ramokgopa, the second Deputy General Secretary and also convener of the ANC Women's League, laying a wreath here. It also comes at a time where the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, is now faced with the Phala Phala saga, with those millions of dollars estimated to be around $580,000 US, approximately about 10 million rands being stolen from his farm in Phala Phala, which speaks to the issues particularly pertaining to illicit money flows, allegations of money laundering. You've had those report by the Section 89 report, high panel report of 2 retired judges and a lawyer. You've also had former President Mbeki speak extensively on this particular matter and asking the ANC NEC to deal with this matter of Phala Phala. As you can see, the leaders of the ANC in Gauteng, the Provincial Secretary TK Nziza and Provincial Chairperson Panyaza Lusufi, laying a wreath on the gravesite of Oliver Tambo. They are the provincial leaders of the ANC, leading an ANC which has dipped under 50% provincially, which has lost control and outright majority of all of the 9 municipalities in the province, that they are currently engaged in talks of coalition governments and are also part of the ANC's National Executive Committee, which has been accused of going back to the era of former President Jacob Zuma of defending an incumbent leader of the African National Congress, in the words of former President Mbeki, at all cost, and digging its head in the sand when it comes to defending its leaders and against standing up to the president of the African National Congress and holding him accountable on those millions of dollars that were stolen in his farm. Former President Mbeki only came for one day of the ANC's National Executive Committee, saying that the ANC is dipping back to that dark era where it was at in the era of former President Jacob Zuma, which does not emulate and illustrate the leadership capabilities and capacities of the longest-serving president of the ANC, Oliver Tambo, who ultimately led the ANC through one of its most difficult periods in the run-up to South Africa's democratic dispensation and also negotiations. You remember when Oliver Tambo was speaking at the ANC conference in 1991 at the Durban Wattville, where Nelson Mandela was elected as president of the ANC, where he effectively handed over the reins of power to Nelson Mandela. He said he's handing over a bigger and better African National Congress, and it is up to the leadership of the ANC to take care of this gallant organization, which is the liberation movement of South Africa, which has effectively dwindled its electoral support over the years. You'd go to the diagnostic report of former ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantashe, which spoke about the sins of incumbency within the ANC, which spoke about the intellectual and ideological bankruptcy of the liberation movement. You can also see international representations of the ANC from Cuba, from Palestine, from Western Sahara. You can also see a Cuban delegation. You remember the close relations, how Oliver Tambo was an internationalist along the lines of former President Mandela, and how they were close to the former leader and former president of Cuba, Fidel Castro, and the importance that the Cubans play in South Africa's current contemporary politics. You remember when South Africa was battling with COVID-19, how Cubans were able to send doctors to the length and breadth of South Africa to help with fighting COVID-19. Sakina.